Welcome back everyone. Today we are looking at LTI Mindtree, a major player in the global tech consulting and digital solutions space.
That's right. LTI Mindtree, part of the Larsen & Toubro Group, is quite significant. They work across various industries, helping businesses transform using technology. They just released their audited financial results for the fourth quarter, and the full financial year ended March 31, 2025. The board approved these results on April 23, 2025.
And it looks like we have both the standalone and the consolidated figures here, audited by Deloitte Haskins & Sells. So we can get a view of the main company and the group picture, including all its subsidiaries and joint ventures listed in their annexure. Let's dive into the consolidated numbers first. How did the group perform in Q4 and the full year?
Okay, starting with the consolidated results for Q4 FY25. Revenue from operations came in at 97,717 million rupees. That's up 9.9% year-over-year from 88,929 million rupees in Q4 FY24 and a slight 1.1% sequential increase from Q3 FY25.
A nearly 10% year-over-year growth in revenue for the quarter. How did that translate to profits?
Profit before tax or PBT for Q4 was 15,293 million rupees, which is actually up 5.6% year-over-year from 14,483 million rupees. Profit after tax or PAT for the quarter landed at 11,286 million rupees. That's a 2.5% increase year-over-year from 11,007 million rupees in Q4 FY24 and up 3.9% sequentially from Q3.
Interesting. So profit growth is lagging revenue growth slightly in the quarter year-over-year. What about the full picture for FY25?
For the full financial year 25, consolidated revenue was 380,081 million rupees, a solid 7% increase year-over-year from 355,170 million rupees in FY24. PBT for the year stood at 62,142 million rupees, up 2.7% year-over-year. And the full year PAT was 46,020 million rupees, which is just a marginal 0.4% increase year-over-year from 45,846 million rupees.
Okay, so steady revenue growth for the year, but profit growth is quite muted on a consolidated basis for the full year. How does earnings per share or EPS look?
Consolidated basic EPS for Q4 FY25 was 38.10 rupees, slightly down from 37.16 rupees in Q4 FY24. For the full year FY25, basic EPS was 155.29 rupees compared to 154.85 rupees in FY24, so almost flat year-over-year. Diluted EPS shows a similar trend.
Got it. Now let's switch gears to the standalone results, just the parent company LTI Mindtree Limited. How does that compare?
On a standalone basis for Q4 FY25, revenue was 94,231 million rupees, up 9.5% year-over-year. Standalone PBT for the quarter was 14,516 million rupees, up 2.2% year-over-year. And standalone PAT was 10,786 million rupees, down 1.4% year-over-year.
So standalone profit actually dipped slightly year-over-year in Q4, unlike the consolidated figure. What about the full year standalone picture?
For the full year FY25 standalone, revenue was 366,825 million rupees, up 7.1% year-over-year. Standalone PBT was 59,687 million rupees, up 1.5% year-over-year. And standalone PAT came in at 44,465 million rupees, down 0.9% year-over-year from 44,859 million rupees in FY24.
So the standalone business saw a slight dip in full year profit, while the consolidated profit was marginally up. That suggests subsidiaries might have slightly boosted the overall profit picture, even if the parent company's profit was under pressure.
Exactly. While the parent company forms the bulk of the operations, the consolidated view includes performance from subsidiaries across the globe like Germany, Canada, the US, South Africa, the UK, and others, plus their joint venture in Saudi Arabia. Their performance influences that small difference we see between standalone and consolidated profit growth.
Let's talk profitability margins. The press release mentions the consolidated EBIT margin. What are those numbers telling us?
Right? The consolidated operating margin or EBIT margin for Q4 FY25 was 13.8%, which is the same as Q3 FY25 but down from 14.7% in Q4 FY24. For the full year FY25, the consolidated EBIT margin was 14.5% compared to 15.7% in FY24. So there's definitely been some margin compression over the year on a consolidated basis.
And the net profit margin?
Consolidated net profit margin for Q4 FY25 was 11.5%, slightly up from 11.2% in Q3, but down from 12.4% in Q4 last year. For the full year, it was 12.1%, down from 12.9% in FY24. Standalone margins would follow a similar trend given the profit numbers we discussed.
So margins are under a bit of pressure year over year, both at the EBIT and PAT levels. Were there any exceptional items affecting these results, either standalone or consolidated?
Looking through the statements, there are no line items explicitly marked as exceptional items for either standalone or consolidated results in the periods presented. This suggests the profits we're seeing reflect the regular course of business.
Good to know. Let's briefly touch upon the balance sheet. Any major callouts from the consolidated statement as of March 31, 2025?
On the consolidated balance sheet, total assets stand at 306,300 million rupees, up from 275,630 million rupees last year. Total equity has grown nicely to 227,115 million rupees from 200,264 million rupees, driven by retained earnings. Key asset increases are seen in property, plant, and equipment, investments, especially current financial investments, and cash equivalents. Goodwill remained relatively stable. On the liability side, both non-current and current liabilities saw moderate increases.
And how does the standalone balance sheet compare?
The standalone balance sheet shows total assets at 292,167 million rupees and total equity at 218,341 million rupees. The differences compared to consolidated reflect the assets and liabilities held within the subsidiary companies, which are netted out or consolidated in the group view. The parent company also holds significant investments, likely including those in its subsidiaries.
What about cash flows? The consolidated statement should give us a view for the full year.
Yes, the consolidated cash flow statement for FY25 shows net cash generated from operating activities at 45,458 million rupees. This is down from 56,695 million rupees in FY24, indicating weaker cash generation from operations despite the profit increase.
Lower cash from operations? What about investing and financing?
Net cash used in investing activities was 17,382 million rupees, significantly lower than the 39,121 million rupees used last year. This was mainly due to much larger sales of investments, 269 billion rupees, almost offsetting purchases, 280 billion rupees this year compared to last year. Net cash used in financing activities was higher at 25,744 million rupees compared to 22,688 million rupees last year, primarily driven by dividend payments which were around 19.2 billion rupees.
So weaker operating cash flow, but less cash used in investing due to churning investments and higher outflow for financing mainly due to dividends. Did they announce a dividend this time?
Yes, they did. The board has recommended a final dividend of 45 rupees per equity share of 1 rupee each for the financial year ended March 31, 2025. This is subject to shareholder approval at the upcoming annual general meeting or AGM.
45 rupees final dividend. Okay. Now, a crucial part for a company like LTIMindtree is segment performance. How did the different business verticals and geographies perform on a consolidated basis?
Let's break it down revenue-wise for the full year financial year 25. Banking, financial services and insurance, or BFSI, is still the largest chunk, contributing 36.1% of revenue, and it grew 4.6% year over year. Technology, media and communications had strong growth at 8.7%, making up 24.5% of the revenue. Manufacturing and resources also saw good growth, up 7.2%, and that's 19% of the total revenue. The consumer business was slightly down by 0.5%, contributing 14.3%. And finally, healthcare, life sciences and public services saw a decline of 3%, contributing 6.1% of the revenue.
So BFSI, tech and manufacturing are the growth engines, while consumer and healthcare lagged a bit in FY25. How about profitability by segment?
Looking at the segment results, that's the profit before tax and central costs or interest for Q4 financial year 25. BFS I was the biggest contributor, bringing in 5,889 million rupees in profit. Tech, media and communications was next with 4,709 million rupees, followed by manufacturing and resources at 2,628 million rupees. The consumer business added 2,379 million rupees, while healthcare, life sciences and public services had the smallest contribution for the quarter at 357 million rupees. Generally, the profit trends for the full year mirrored the revenue contributions, with BFSI remaining the most profitable segment overall.
And geographically? Where is the growth coming from?
North America, their largest market, 74.8% of FY25 revenue, grew by 7.1% year-over-year. Europe, 14.1% of revenue, saw a slight decline of 1.2%. Rest of the world, 11.1% of revenue, also declined slightly by 1.7%. So North America is clearly driving the geographical growth.
Okay, putting it all together, moderate consolidated revenue growth driven by North America and key verticals like BFSI and tech, but margins faced some pressure, and full-year profit growth was minimal. What did management say in their commentary?
Management highlighted the 7% INR revenue growth and 5% in constant currency for FY25, achieved despite a challenging macro environment. They pointed to a robust order inflow of $6 billion for the year, up 6%, driven significantly by AI-led deals integrated across their services. They also mentioned the EBIT margin of 14.5% for the year and noted the seamless transition of Venu Lambu, presumably a key management figure. They feel well-positioned due to their ability to secure large deals, presence in tech-intensive sectors, and a strong balance sheet. They also mentioned having 84,307 professionals and a trailing 12 months attrition rate of 14.4%.
That order book sounds positive. Any other significant events or notes from the report?
Yes, a couple of things. Firstly, as mentioned, the 45 rupees final dividend recommendation. Secondly, the board approved and recommended the appointment of a new secretarial auditor, M. Second Alvin J. & Company, practicing company secretaries, for a term of 5 consecutive years, starting from FY26 up to FY30. This is detailed in Annexure B.
A change in the secretarial auditor noted. What about changes in the group structure mentioned in the auditor's report annexure?
The auditor's report annexure lists all subsidiaries and the JV. It notes some recent changes like Nielsen plus partner Unternehmens Berater GmbH merging with LTIMindtree GmbH in October 2024, Nielsen and partner Pty Limited being dissolved in October 2024, Syncordis SARL in France being dissolved in November 2024, LTIMindtree LLC, a US entity, being dissolved in January 2025. On the other hand, LTIMindtree Consulting Brazil Ltda. was incorporated in September 2024 and the joint venture LTIMindtree Aramco Digital Solutions for Information Technology was incorporated in Saudi Arabia in November 2024.
Okay, some consolidation and new formations there. Now critically, what did the auditors Deloitte Haskins and Sells say in their report? Any qualifications or concerns on either the standalone or consolidated financials?
This is a key positive. According to the company's declaration on page 1 and confirmed by reviewing the auditor reports themselves, pages 3 through 7 for consolidated, 13 through 16 for standalone, Deloitte Haskins and Sells LLP has issued an unmodified opinion on both the audited standalone and consolidated financial results for the year ended March 31, 2025.
Unmodified opinion, that's clean. No qualifications, adverse opinions or disclaimers?
Correct. It's a clean opinion for both sets of results. The auditors do include an other matter paragraph, which is standard practice, clarifying that the financial figures for the last quarter, Q4, are derived balancing figures between the audited figures for the full financial year and the published year-to-date figures up to the third quarter, which were subject to limited review. This doesn't modify their opinion.
Excellent. Clean audit reports are always reassuring for investors. So wrapping up, what's the outlook based on these results?
Disclaimer: As always, we advise investors to consult with certified financial experts before making any investment decisions. LTIMindtree delivered steady growth in a challenging environment, particularly driven by North America and key verticals like BFSI and tech. While margins saw some compression year over year, they stabilized sequentially in Q4. The strong order inflow, especially with AI integration, is a positive indicator for future revenue. The Clean Auditor's report adds confidence. Key things to watch will be margin trajectory, performance in the consumer and healthcare verticals, European market recovery, and successful execution of the order book, especially the large deals and AI-focused projects. Standard industry risks around the macro environment and competition remain.
Great summary. So LTIMindtree's FY25 showed resilience with moderate top-line growth and a strong order book pointing towards future potential, despite some margin pressure and muted profit growth for the year. The clean audit and final dividend are positives, alongside the strategic focus on AI.
Precisely. A steady performance overall, navigating the current landscape with a promising pipeline but needing to manage profitability carefully going forward.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in.
Join us next time for another deep dive into the latest market earnings.